Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Real Hacker Hours podcast. This is basically where I just do the normal work I would in side projects. I just hit the record button before I do it. None of this is rehearsed, so you're probably going to see a few smooth brain mistakes. Today we are continuing with Apache reversing. There is one particular functionality about modules that I want to find out before I move on to some of the more fun work. That is, so with Apache modules, there are various configurations that are dealt with. The four primary functions that you define as part of the module configuration, you can either create a server config or a directory config or merge one of the two. Those are the four functions. Configurations have different contexts. You can either be per server or per directory. And yeah, I want to understand exactly where those things are called from. And then with that, I I'll have enough of an understanding of how exactly modules work with everything that can move on to evaluating individual modules effectively. Cool. So how are we going to do this? First, I want to see where they're called from. In the quickest way to do that I can think of is with dynamic analysis. So let's first make sure Apache is running. Is it running? Yes, it is running. I'm gonna go ahead and kill it. 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.8, 4.3.9.4. So, actually, I know for a fact that at least since Apache modules they are loaded when Apache is started up, that would lead me to believe that probably both the creation of the configs and merging, which I believe that's a part of the configuration, effectively creation process, that should happen at startup. So I would need to restart Apache to dynamically evaluate that process. Cool, so let's go to the Apache directory. So here we are, let's fire it up in GDB. So, what I plan on doing, since I'm not too familiar, well, my plan for finding where in the code path that hits is, let me find this file first. Mod alias.c. I'm pulling up the source code for two different modules that I know indeed are loaded. Where is modder? I forget. Apache source grep tech.ir. Oh, it's in mappers. Okay, cool. It's in the same directory. I was just being smooth brain. Cool. So we have the source code for here, and for here we have the functions for creating and emerging directory devs. It's not devs, configs. We do not, for modder, does not have the functions for creating per server configs. For mod alias, we have a function for creating and merging both server and directory configs. First thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to see if we can't resolve these symbols in GDB without it running. Okay, cool. So I believe if I break on me, then run it. Oh, wait a second. Why is it not seeing this? Oh, wait, it has to actually load. I'm being smooth right here. It has to actually load the module before it's in the address space. So I'm going to set a breakpoint for load module. Continue. Authn. Module. Okay, so here we at the dir module. We might have passed the alias module, just didn't see it, but let's see. So here it has these two functions. I do not believe it will resolve this. Nope, but if you finish it. And okay, so you see, we have to wait till the load module actually happens before the function enters into the address space. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and set a breakpoint for there. And oh, right after the the directory module, we have the alias module. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. Finish, and now we should see that this function has been loaded into memory and we have symbols for it. And we do. Cool. I'm going to set a breakpoint for there. And now that we have our breakpoint set, I'm going to go ahead and just see where these two functions for creating directory config file, not directory config files, just directory configs for two separate modules, where they're called from. Okay, that was a bit interesting. It appears that neither of them have been called. What could very well be happening is when so Apache works off of like a multi-process and multi-threaded system. It could be calling those functions after it forks. So, okay, cool. In order to do that, hang on one second. Okay, I'm back. What I just tried doing here was running Apache with follow fork mode child and running it to see, oh hey, can we actually hang on one second. Okay, yeah. Following the child to effectively see like see if it breaks in there, but that didn't work. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just perhaps try some static analysis. Well, just looking over the source code to see if I can like get some more introspection to like where exactly this is happening. So, oh, do I want to do that? No. Don't. Hang on one second, I need to think about how I'm going to tackle this. I just realized something, that I might have had an assumption incorrect. So, all of the breakpoints I set were after the load module was called for the module that I was trying to see if the configurations were included in. What could very well be happening is, and within the load module itself, that's where the configuration is actually made. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. First, load module. Actually, I already documented where the load module, where that takes place. So let's see. Module loading. Where does this take place? Within invoke command. Actually, just go to the source code, grep tech IR, module, core. So it's called within Establish there. Unload. Load. Clean up register. This is a bit interesting. It looks like it isn't directly called. Rather, the establishes the function, like it gets passed to a like as a parameter to a different function. So let's see, what is where is this invoke command? Where is this function? Config. Okay, so it's in server config.c. Let's take a look in there. Server config.c. Cool. Invoke command. That's where it's established. So it's called in two separate functions, I believe. Looking at, oh, wait, no. Looking at mod loading, it's called from execute now. So, wait, no, wrong file. Config.c, here we go. It's called from this function right here. This is the call. Now, that being said, let's go. What is the actual resource access? Okay, cool. So this is the invoke command function. Let's take a look. Actually, I'm going to copy into another tab. That way, searching through it will be easier. There's probably some like Sublime text functionality, so don't have to do that, but oh well. What was load module? Let's first just see, is load module reference at all? No, it is not. Okay, cool. So how does it call it from here? I don't know. Okay, cool. So I don't think I'm going to be able to tell much info just from looking at the invoke command. Rather, we have the function declaration right here. I just realized, or just remembered rather. Why am I not looking at that? That is a smooth brain mistake on my part. Let's go back to Apache source. Modules. Core. Mod so.c. Okay, cool. So we're here. Let's take a look at load module. Load. So it's here. Static constant. This looks to be some sort of like error message, so I'm pretty sure that's on it. So this is our load module function. Cool. So we have this. Okay, cool. Let's take a look. APR. No, APR plane. Single. Finally, we need to run the configuration process for the module. Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to copy paste this function into a separate tab because that's what scrubs do. And okay, cool. AP single module configure. What actually? Let me DSO load APR DSO load. So according to my documentation, DSO load is the function which will actually load the module into memory. And we can see it's called here, and AP single module configure is called there. So what I can do, what I'm assuming was happening is ep single module configure is what is actually calling those functions like server create config, directory merge config, that sort of thing. So I'm going to run GDB again with it, set a breakpoint for load module, wait until I hit the mod dir and mod alias, and then in it I will set a breakpoint for ap single module configure, which at that point the module should be loaded in with symbols and addresses and everything. So it should be able to set breakpoints for those specific functions and then hit them and see exactly where they're called from. Cool. I really need to script this out. PS tag AUX. Wait, no. Let me get back to the directory. Actually had. Okay, I was just making like a million typos since I had the caps lock on. I need to get back to the directory which has the Apache binaries in it. Cool. Let's go ahead and kill the Apache processes. Sudo kill tag 96894 695 4 5 6 7. Let's just make sure that okay, there's one last process we need to kill. 7. Cool. And okay, cool. So all the Apache processes have been killed. We are free to restart Apache and analyze the runtime, all the startup, since Apache doesn't like it when you run multiple instances of it. Cool. So we are here. Let's set a breakpoint at load module. Run it. Often it's wait. I believe dir is loaded into memory before alias. So I'm just gonna go until there. We have hit the dir module. I am going to set a breakpoint for here. Cool. We should hit this next. Breakpoint 2. Cool. We have hit that. Let's see the what is it called? The mod dir. Yeah, the mod dir function should be loaded into memory now, so we should be able to set breakpoints. I'm just going to clear up some of my tabs here. Cool. So let's see. That, yep, we can resolve that. Set a breakpoint for there. And set a breakpoint for here. Three and 4. Cool. Let us continue and see what happens. Create dir config. Okay, this is good. Let's just call it from ap single module configure. And I'm assuming since right now my Apache conf isn't that complicated, I think I just maybe have like one directory set up. Pretty much just like the standard just the standard conf that it gets shipped with Apache. So I get the feeling this is only going to run once, but I'm not sure, to be honest. Cool. So okay. So we've hit the load module again. I was just saving I'm just gonna save this. This is the call stack that the create directory config function for the mod was called from. Now we are at alias module. Let's delete. Actually, I'm going to keep all the breakpoints. We should hit breakpoint 2 next. We've hit it. Cool. We're going to do the same thing we did for mod dir, but with mod alias. Let's close some of these tabs that we don't need. Don't need that. Don't need that. Do need this. Set breakpoints for all of these. I'm assuming here that we're going to get create alias dir and just create alias are going to be called once. I don't think there's going to be any merging functionality happening, but we will see. And let's see. Create alias config. Just called from this call stack. And create alias dir. And let's see. Load module. I'm going to delete breakpoints 1 and 2. And we see that, yeah, those functions were never called again. So my assumption with the basic config that the create dir or create server configs per module would only be called once, which is true. Let's take a look at this. Okay. One thing that's a bit interesting is for the mod alias, both the alias and the dir, wait, alias, that's not right. That is not right. Oh, okay, looking at here, create alias config was called twice, create alias dir config was called once. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and... So, I'm gonna go ahead and just rerun Apache so I can get that call site. Just gonna be going through the same process again. Yeah, it was a smooth brain moment. I hit create alias config a second time and just misread it as create alias config dir or something like that. So I thought I had something I didn't have. 43, 7344, 5, 6, cool, sudo gdp httpd break at load module. I'm just going to run it until mod alias gets hit. Okay, we're at alias module. I'm going ahead and delete that breakpoint. Cool. What is this function? I'm going to set a breakpoint for here. Now all of the mod alias functions should be loaded into memory. So I can go ahead, set breakpoints for here. 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 And finally here. Cool, we should have 4 breakpoints, which we do. I'm going to continue. Hit create alias config. Create alias dir config. Nope, did not copy it right. Misclicked. Okay. So that time, we hit create alias config once, then create alias dir config. So now we have it. Then, cool. Moving forward, So this address, okay, so the dir config addresses were called from the same spot, which does make sense. That being said, I'm going to take a look at AP single module configs and or configure, since that is the function that is calling these various functions. Let's see, where is it in the source code? Looks like it's in mod so.c, so let's go in there. Core mod so.c, cool. EP declare void. This, I misread this. This is just a function call to it. See here. Looks like it's in server config.c. Okay, that makes more sense. Server config.c. And okay, here is it. EP set model. So one thing I'm seeing here is here we're seeing the function has effectively two if then statements followed by two functions. Here we're seeing like conditional here, and but we're not seeing any function. Oh, there's a indirect call here and an indirect call here, but no like hard-coded values. So that would lead me to believe that these two things are not functions, rather they are macros that effectively just call whatever, probably they just indirectly call the function specified by the model, not the model, the module. So I'm going to go ahead and grep for these two. Grep define. Util debug.c. Define. Looks like they're in http config.h. So let's go in, include http config.h. Cool. So I'm not seeing here define AP set module config here. Here we go. This defines the parameters and it expects. In here, we can see what looks like, yeah, it is doing an indirect call. So here it is actually establishing that. So good news, we know where the effectively where the server configure, yeah, when the directory and server configuration configs are being generated and where those functions are actually being called. Question here I'd have next is, where is it happening for, what is it, for, yeah, for actually merging this two. Hang on one second. Okay, yeah, I'm back. But yeah, considering that this has been going on for 30 minutes, I'm going to end off this episode here. Thank you for watching.